Pranakasha live stream. Hey folks, it's Matt at Pranakasha Productions, and today we're talking with Antoinette Love Ransom. Now, I know Antoinette because she's friends with a friend of mine, Jacob Charlot, who happens to own a very fine blue felt jacket. So, and we're all kind of involved with Space Command now. So, and Antoinette, you've got other stuff going on too. Like, I think you were telling me that you're about to star in a feature film.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi film. I can't release the name, but we start production in August, and I play one of the, I guess you can say, lead characters. I'm like the queen. I'm a hybrid, so I'm part
Oh,
human, part alien, and
oh,
this takes place in the year of 2236. And we
oh.
have used all of our natural resources on Earth, so now we're living close within deep Earth's core. And yeah, I'm the
Ah,
queen of the civilization. I'm the one that started this civilization, the hybrids, the alien, half human hybrids. And our eyes are white. And it's kind of
interesting.
is yeah, it's interesting to me because I'm into sci-fi, but I never thought I'd be cast in a movie, in a sci-fi movie. So this is going to be a challenge for me. And I do have an acting coach. She's amazing. She's out of
Oh,
New York and
great.
Los Angeles, so she's definitely preparing me for this role because I'm definitely going to need an acting coach for this one. This is intense, you know?
Wow. So
Yeah.
how did you get this role? How did it just fall in your lap, or were you out there
Ki-
shopping for it,
no,
or
kinda. I mean, I still had to read for it.
okay?
But so many other people read for it. They just thought with my look and my presence and they just thought I'd be great for it. They've been watching me through social media and, a couple of things I've done. And I'm not really saying I'm a strong actress because I used to act a long time ago. I was a theater actress.
Oh, okay.
And I gave up acting to get into production and PR and marketing. I gave up acting years ago.
Okay.
But most recently, it seems like, I don't know what it is, Matt. People are reaching out to me and they're offering me roles here and there. Like there was a soap opera offering me a small role, and now we
Oh,
got the
great.
sci-fi film. And I'm like, okay, well, what's happening, God? Talk to me, because it seems like I'm getting right back into acting.
Hmm.
Not saying I
Uh,
don't enjoy it, I do, but I definitely enjoy being behind the camera in production and seeing everything come together.
okay. And you're also a mom too. You have
Yep.
uh, and I can't remember how old your kids are. I think they're like 8 or 9, or
So I have two boys. I have a
okay.
5-year-old and I have a 10-year-old. And it's so
Okay.
challenging having two kids that are 5 years apart, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they argue a lot. They love each other, but they argue a lot. Don't touch my stuff, that type of thing, right? You know?
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
And it's especially hard to be a parent and to do the acting thing because it's like if you get a role, they're like, okay, we're shooting on such and such a day, you got to be there,
Well,
type of
yeah, because
thing,
we're shooting the whole month of August. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to raise money because I have to shoot the whole month of August, and then I got to
Uh,
pay a nanny to watch my kids, right? So,
okay.
and we're talking about a nanny because we might be on set for like 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah, basically
Um,
all day long.
Yeah, so we're shooting pretty much 5 to 6 days a week.
Okay.
And I'll need a nanny probably 4 of those days out of the week. And it adds up really quick. In addition, because I can't do anything that whole month of August, and we might go right into September shooting.
Right.
So right now we're just shooting the trailer, but it's a huge production. It takes a lot of time, a lot of work. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice, but I feel like it's worth it because it'll definitely put me in front of the screen again. And it's like the type of role that I'm honored to be in. I'm glad they have faith in me for whatever reason. This director has faith in me.
That's great.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah. And you don't know, do you know the director? Did you work previously with them or?
Nope, he just knows a mutual friend of mine, and this mutual friend definitely spoke highly of me. This friend has seen me on the red carpet a lot and seen
Okay.
me in production and work production. He's definitely impressed with my creative eye and the way I talk to people. So I don't know, he just did me a solid and got me the part, basically. I still had to read for it, but I guess they already knew they were going to give me the part.
Ah, wow. Wow, that's
I
really
know,
good.
I know.
Yeah, because I know a lot of actors, really capable actors, where they just have to kick and scream to get roles,
I know,
you
and that's
know.
why I feel so honored and flattered because there's so many people out there that just, and I know because I'm a theater actress. When I moved from Kansas City to LA,
Uh-huh.
that's what I wanted to be, was an actress, but it didn't work out that way. God took me on a different path.
Uh-huh.
So I know some actresses and actors that really hit it hard. They're in acting classes, they're hitting it hard with their craft.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been there. I was going to Strasbourg. I used to go to Strasbourg Institute for a little
Okay.
bit. So I used to
Wow.
study acting. I never forget that day. Al Pacino was a substitute teacher in one of our classes. You know what I'm saying? I never forget that day.
Did you guys
So,
give him grief because he was a substitute? Like try
oh no,
to
no,
play tricks
he
on him?
oh
Oh,
no, he read us up and down like a book, and we were so intimidated. That's Al Pacino, right?
right.
He's like, "Oh no, you're not hitting it. You're not hitting. I'm not feeling that emotion. It's not genuine. It's not real." I mean, he was just reading everybody, but he was such a pleasure to have in there. And short, like I didn't realize how short he was. Really short, you know.
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh my God, he's tiny." Because on TV, I would never imagine him being that short, you
Yeah,
know.
camera angles.
Yeah, I know.
Favorable camera angles make him look
I'm like,
taller.
wow, I had to look down at him. I was actually surprised, but the man's amazing, amazing actor.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
neat. Okay. Well, I have a question for you. So, um, your Antoinette Love Ransom. So, is that your original middle name, or did you acquire that?
Oh my God, I get asked that daily. Yes, I saw my mom.
Okay.
My mom, I don't know what it is. Maybe she had an epiphany when I was born because she gave me that name, and everywhere I go, even celebrities, they'll say, "Is that your real name?"
Oh,
I'm like, "Yes, I was born. It's on my birth certificate, Antoinette Love Ransom." So thank you, Mom, because
that's great.
um, I know I get a lot of compliments about my name, so I have to thank my mom for that one.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, love is the answer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we need more of that, right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Just looking through your bio here. So let's take a look here. Like I was telling you, it's kind of small print, so it's hard for me to see. But it says that you grew up in Kansas City,
I did.
right?
I was actually born in Springfield, Missouri. That's where Brad Pitt is from, Springfield, Missouri.
Oh,
And then I was young when my parents moved to Kansas City. I think I was 10 years old when my parents moved to Kansas City. And
okay.
then I was raised there.
Did you ever
So
see a
that's what
tornado?
I have a few. I've seen some small ones and some big ones.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I've seen the biggest one I seen did some damage, and I had to hide. We had to hide somewhere underneath a bunker somewhere, and that was in the state of Kansas, not exactly
Okay.
Missouri, but this is the Kansas side. But yeah, I've seen some tornadoes. It's not fun when they come down. They feel like a bunch of trains under your feet, you know?
Okay. Oh, so you actually felt the ground rumbling from it.
Yeah, you could feel because they're so strong. You could feel it like
Oh,
rumbling. It feels like a bunch of trains under your feet. That's the best way I can explain it. You,
wow. I never
yeah.
thought of that.
Oh, yes, that
Okay.
much wind hitting the ground. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Huh. Wow. Okay. Well, I learned something. And then it looks like you went to Catholic school.
I
So were your parents
did.
Catholic, or was it just that the Catholic schools are the
Um,
best?
my dad was Catholic. My mom said she grew up Catholic, but she wasn't really that involved, if you
Okay.
will. But yeah, I went to Catholic school, and that wasn't really, it was okay. It was kind of a pleasant experience, but it was not because I was very creative. And the nuns there really didn't know how to communicate with me. You know what I'm saying? I was very creative and shy, and but they didn't know how to communicate with me very well. The way I would say things and the way I would perceive things was different than all the other kids. So although they thought I was a sweet child and very shy, they thought I was definitely out there, like I had something wrong with me. But I was just creative. You know, creative kids were kind of out there the way we do things,
So
right?
creative. You mean you were daydreaming a lot? Is that what you mean?
I would draw in class, and then I would act out characters from TV. So I'd
In
be in the middle
class.
of something and I would sound like Oprah, or I would sound like, I don't know, like Bugs Bunny, or I would sound like Pink Panther, or I would sound like some drunk person I saw on some TV show. And the nun says, "Oh, you got to help tell my parents, you got a special one here. We might think something's wrong with her." But no, I was an actress and didn't know it, right?
Okay.
So my mom got me into theater after that. She's like, "Okay, maybe you're just creative because you're an actress, not because you have like something wrong with you, right?"
Okay. How
Uh,
old were you when she put you in theater?
I was 14, and then I
Okay.
attended a prestigious acting school out in Kansas for 3 years from age 14 to right before I graduated high school. It got tough for us to keep paying for it because I think my mom was paying 150 a month, and
Okay.
my mom didn't really have money. She couldn't really afford it, but she did it because she knew I loved it, and that was my creative outlet. So that's what got me into theater was
And
when
it
I
looks like
started.
you were in A Christmas Carol.
I was,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. I did A Christmas Carol in Kansas City. I did Wizard of Oz. I did a
Oh,
couple
what
of
part did you play in Wizard of Oz?
The Scarecrow. Yeah.
A lady scarecrow. Interesting.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
so much fun. I played the Scarecrow with all the makeup and stuff.
Okay.
And then I did some local commercials, nothing too big, but I did a lot of plays, a lot of plays. And that's why when
Okay.
I came to LA and I started auditioning for TV shows and movies,
Uh,
people were like, you're too over the top. You need to get an acting
yeah.
coach or acting classes. Cause I was big. Like I was like,
Right. Right.
and people are
Theater.
like,
Yeah.
Antoinette, you got to tone it down. And on TV, it's the face. But I was so
Hmm.
used to being on theater and being so big. It was, so, yeah, like I was
Yeah.
over the top, right?
Yeah.
So even now, I'm still over the top, but not as much. I kind of toned it down a little bit.
Yeah. I think, well, I don't know. I think it's easier if you're too flamboyant just to dial it back than to
Yes,
have to do it from the other direction where you're just too wooden and
you're
you're not
you're
giving them
too laid
anything.
back and subdued, and they have to make you
Yeah.
bigger. Now that's
Yeah.
hard. That's hard. But when you're big and they have to tone you down, it makes the process so much easier, especially for a director. I think. You
Okay.
know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you remember anything from being a scarecrow.
Oh no, my God. It was years ago. I remember the choreography. Like if I ever seen you in person, I could bust out in the choreography.
Okay. Was this version of a musical?
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, and I can't sing. I never could sing. So I was offbeat the whole time. But I
we're
definitely
off
had
to
that.
see. There was the
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah,
Wizard of
yeah.
Oz.
Terrible singing. But I
Okay.
definitely had that choreography down because I'm a dancer. So I
Oh,
definitely I still remember the choreography to this day. I still remember the Scarecrow choreography, which was so much fun. So much
okay.
fun.
What
Yeah.
kind of dance do you like to do?
Hip hop,
Okay.
jazz. I was too top heavy to do ballet.
Oh,
I
we can't
tap.
really
Most
tell.
people don't know I don't know I know how to tap. So I have my
Oh,
tap
cool.
shoes in the
Tap
closet.
dancing. Oh,
Yeah, I know how to
oh,
tap.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So my idol was Paula Abdul at the time when Paula Abdul
Okay.
was popular, and I think I was like 14 when Paula Abdul was at the peak of her fame.
Okay.
She's the one that inspired me to tap, and I didn't learn how to tap dance until I moved to LA. I was in my 20s when I learned how to tap dance.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Have you ever
Yeah.
tried to do like flamenco or something like that?
I thought about it. I thought about it. I really did, but I think I just got distracted off of so many other things I was working on,
Yeah.
you know?
Plus, it's
Yeah.
probably like a classical style where like
It
you have to
is.
grow up with it, and like
Hmm.
a person that doesn't know flamenco you could fool them, but if you don't really know what you're doing, a real flamenco dancer will be like,
Oh,
"What the
yeah.
heck are they trying to do?"
Yeah, there's a certain
Yeah,
technique to that. Yeah, for sure. Kind of
interesting.
like just
Wow.
like river dancing. There's a certain technique to river dancing, right?
Right.
You know?
Well, it's like me. I play violin, so like whenever an actor pretends to play violin on a show and they're not a violin player, I'm like, "Oh God, no, please,
My
it's
son
all
just picked up his
wrong."
violin. So you play the
Oh,
violin.
really?
Okay. So you play. So you might be able to give my son some advice. He just picked up his violin 2 weeks ago. He's going to start lessons in 2 weeks. My son is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have a
Yeah.
violin student right now. I used to teach Suzuki violin uh, several decades ago. Because I grew up, my mom was a really big name Suzuki violin teacher. Do you know what Suzuki is? Suzuki method?
No, I've
Remember
never
that?
heard that. What
It's
is
the
it?
method that came from Japan, from Dr. Suzuki,
Okay.
um, where the main thing about it was that the kids just learn the music by ear first, and then um, they learn to read notes later on. The whole
Oh,
idea was
that's
that
amazing.
his theory was that children learn their mother tongue, their original language from their mother and their parents, and they just do it by imitating. And then much later, they go to school and figure out all the nuts and bolts of that. But by then, they already know how to speak that language, right? They basically
Nice.
absorbed it from early childhood. And he said, well, if kids can do that with language, maybe they can do that with music too. And so that was the
Oh,
foundation of the
nice.
whole method.
Yeah, most of the
Yeah.
musicians in my family play by ear. Most of the musicians in my family, they play by
Yeah.
ear. Yeah, that's interesting. Never heard that
Yeah.
term.
So which one is it that's doing the violin? Is it the
It's my 10
10-year-old?
year 10 year old,
Okay.
and then my 5 year old. I just signed him up for piano lessons because
Oh, cool.
he likes when I play the piano. So my
Oh,
5 year old came up to me and says, "Hey, mommy, I want to learn the piano like you." I'm like, "Really?" I was like, "Okay." Well, I love that because I want at least one of my kids to play the piano like me.
great.
You know?
Yeah, if I were you, I would get the 10-year-old to play some piano too, because
Yeah,
it's just a really
absolutely.
good foundational instrument.
Hmm.
Just so they
Yep.
can learn about chords and a little bit of music theory and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know.
that's what I told my 10 year old. If you can learn how to play the piano, it's so easy to transition to the guitar, right? Because of
Right.
chords.
Exactly.
So yeah, because he wants to
Yeah.
play the guitar. So I'm like, play the piano first, then the guitar. That's what I told him.
Okay. Tell him if he gets good enough in guitar. Our band needs a guitar player right now.
Oh wow,
So, but
okay.
it's for an August gig, so I don't know. It's a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
last minute, but yeah,
Aw.
yeah. Wow. Okay. Um, so piano. What kind of stuff do you like to play on piano?
Ooh, I got a ton of sheet music. What do I play?
Okay.
I have Mariah Carey. I like to play Prince.
Okay.
Elton John's my favorite. I've
Okay.
been
Yeah.
playing Elton John. His sheet music. I have two books of his. They're like this thick. Elton
Okay.
John's probably my favorite. I'm trying to think, what else do I have?
Who's the other guy? The big piano guy? I mean, the guy that wrote Piano Man. Shoot, what's his name?
Uh,
He's as big as Elton John. Um,
Um, you got me
darn it.
thinking now.
Broadway. The song
Mm.
Broadway.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Oh,
There's
jeez.
I have some classical stuff too that I would play as well. I learned it, but I'm more into the more contemporary popular
Mm-hmm.
music because I like to hear it as I'm playing it. It's one of those
Right.
things, right?
Oh,
So,
that's really cool. So you're musical. And
hmm
then you've done some modeling too, right?
hmm
Yep.
Yep, through the past, I don't know, probably 12 years. I mean, sporadically, very sporadic. People just
Uh-huh.
call me and be like, "Hey, I got this print ad," or "Hey, we need a promo model for this," or something like that. And then I got my kids into it. My younger son took off. He started modeling at 6 months. He became like the face of Gap and Old
Six
Navy and
months?
Target. Uh-huh. Well, yeah, my
Oh,
oldest, my 10-year-old, he started modeling at 6 months.
well,
So he became the face of Guess at a year old. And then he did Target and then Old Navy and then Lands End.
wow.
Yeah, my 10-year-old. But I've done like different small stuff. But my son's done big stuff where you could walk in a department store and see his face. He's done some big print ads.
Now, how does that work? Like, if they use, is it just like you get a paid a flat fee and that's it, or does he get some kind of residuals?
When you do the big stuff like the Gap and Target, they
Uh-huh.
give you a flat fee at the shoot. So I think what he got paid was like 2,000 for the day.
Oh, wow, that's
And
good.
then he, once they put his picture up in the store, then he gets a royalty check every month, which can be like $250 or something. And it's usually no more than a year. And then Lands End, he did 6 shoots with them. He's in their catalog and all the print ads. They paid him 4 grand up front, and then he got paid 500 every 3 months. That was the royalties from that. He did yeah, 500 every 3 months.
That's a lot of
And
moolah for a kid.
well, yeah, I just put it in his trust account. And then
Okay.
6 years old, he kind of got to the point where, Mom, I don't want to do it anymore. So I took him out at 6 years old and he took a break. And then 7 years old, he did one ad. And then the pandemic hit. And then the whole Hollywood shut down. So my
Uh-huh.
son hasn't done any big print ads in the past 3 years.
Hmm.
And now he's ready to do voiceovers. I put him in some voiceover classes, and he's
Oh,
amazing at voiceovers. Like he can do like little cartoon characters and everything.
nice.
So that's what he really wants to do. He don't want to model. I found out he
Hmm.
wants to get into voiceovers because he enjoys it, right?
Right.
He wants to do space movies, sci-fi movies. He wants to do everything. Like he just,
Games. There's lots
yeah,
of
games, everything.
voice opportunities in games too.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, yeah. So that's what I'm going to focus on next with him. Hopefully, I can find
Wow.
him an agent that can get him some voiceover work because the agent he has now, I don't think she focuses on voiceovers. It's just movies and print ads for
Right.
like in front of the camera. I think that's all she does, pretty
There's a
much.
couple websites out there for people who do voiceovers. Well, of course, the other thing is there's all these audiobooks. But
Yeah.
that you have to be really good at it. You have to be able to just sail through it on like one or two takes.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But he's getting there.
Interesting.
I'm one of those mamas that, I want my kids, I'm trying to build a future for them because I want them to have a path because they're so creative. When I
Right.
was creative growing up, people in Kansas City they weren't as creative as me. Maybe I didn't
Mhm.
know if they were, but I kind of just stood out because I was just kind of the oddball.
You were the
Yeah.
goofy girl.
Yeah, the oddball. So I
Okay.
just want my kids to know that it's okay to be creative as long as you have some guidance on
And
how
I
to use
got a
it.
show for you.
Yeah.
You have Netflix, right?
I do. Yes.
I've been watching this show. It's a Korean TV show. It's called uh, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. And I've watched almost
Interesting.
all of the first season, and it's all filmed in Korea,
Uh-huh.
and it's dubbed into English, but the dubbing is done really well, so it's done very well. So the voices match the characters, and it you don't even really notice. Um, but it's about this very creative girl she's actually autistic,
Oh,
and she
wow.
loves whales. So she
Okay.
daydreams about whales all the time, and whenever she does, they start showing whales doing just sort of swimming through the air, you know, in the show. But anyhow, she's super smart because she's autistic. So she's
Uh-huh.
really good at law. She got straight A's in law school. So she comes out of law school though, but it was really hard for her to get a job because she was autistic and had terrible people skills. So the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
show is about this sort of genius autistic girl and all these people trying to navigate around her at the law firm that she works at. And anyways, it's
Interesting.
really good.
No, I have
Yeah.
to watch that. That sounds like something I would watch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even a show that I would watch, but a friend of mine recommended it and I watched a couple episodes and I got totally hooked.
Yeah, and it's good, right? And then you
Yeah.
start binge watching. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because well, it's all the characters. I don't know if you ever watched Big Bang Theory with
Oh,
Sheldon,
yeah.
Sheldon
Yeah.
Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar idea. You got this really oddball character that everybody sort of focuses around, but then or like if you do you watch Young Sheldon? Have you watched that show ever?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That show's even better because you
Mm-hmm.
get fascinated with all the other characters and all the other actors that are sort of orbiting around this oddball person.
Yeah, yeah. I think I
Yeah.
started this binge watching that one night. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah. Okay. So but see, it's so funny because now you don't come off as kind of a goofy person. You seem just so
I
normal now. So how did
have, I
you
have, yeah, I
affect
have
that
my moments.
change? Uh-huh.
I have my moments, trust me.
Okay. So it still comes out.
hmm
Okay.
Especially when you see me in person, Matt. That's when
Okay.
you see it. Yeah, that's when you see it. When you see
Okay.
me in
That'd be
person.
fun, actually.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
definitely, Jacob will tell you, I'm a handful for sure.
So am I. Ah,
Yeah.
okay, we might be bad for each other. We
Yeah.
sometimes it's you get two people like that in the same room, and then just you keep going off in these wild tangents, and
hmm
yeah, like I was telling my friend the other day, we were jogging around Green Lake at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and I saw this squirrel that was carrying this piece of garbage around, and the reason why is it was a wrapper for like an ice cream bar. And so the squirrel was carrying it around because he was licking the ice cream because it tasted good. And so I
Uh-huh.
was thinking, what we should do? We should figure out how to train these squirrels how to pick up litter.
Oh,
And then I
wow.
figured out a
That's
way how
actually a
to
good
do it. So
idea.
what you'd have is you'd have this fancy garbage can that's like solar powered. And then what it does is when the squirrel puts the piece of litter in it, and then through AI or whatever, it has to figure out whether it's really a piece of litter or if it's just like a leaf.
Oh, wow.
But then, that's the biggest hurdle. If we can get the garbage can to do that, then what the garbage can do is give the squirrel a snack. So then that's how you train the squirrels to pick up garbage. And then I
Hey,
figured it
yeah,
would also work for crows.
reward. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you could
Positive
get it going,
reinforcement.
it would be great if there were squirrels and crows that were just all around, in parks and stuff that were just going around merrily picking up the garbage.
That's not a bad idea. A
Yeah.
positive reinforcement for the squirrel.
I think it could work. The
Wow.
hardest thing would be to be able to train the first squirrel and the first crow, but if you could do that, they would probably train the rest of them.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
interesting. I kind of like that idea. Yeah, I like that.
so there you go. Ah, All right. So, and then, so you've done some modeling, and it was mostly like magazines or like
Yeah, more publication, more local modeling. I mean, when I say local, I say Los Angeles and San Diego, and I would get a lot of promo stuff. Like people would call me for car shows or big
oh,
conferences, and I'd be that piece of eye candy around their product, or I'd be a spokesperson. Like they hired me to be a spokeswoman for like their product or company or something like that. It just depends what it is.
that's
But
cool.
yeah, and then some people just say, "Hey, we want to put you in a fashion shoot. We like your look," and they'll just put a dress and makeup and everything on me and just start taking pictures, right?
Okay. Do you ever do like
So
the runway thing?
I've done it a few times. I feel like I'm too short, you
Oh,
know.
totally.
I'm 5'7.5". And for a runway to look really good, I love the girls that are like 5'9", 5'10", and taller
Hmm.
because they just look so beautiful walking on that catwalk. Like
Okay.
their bodies are just tall and elongated. And they could wear some of the bigger gowns and stuff. But
Hmm.
I feel like I'm too short. People put me on the runway before and I worked
Hmm.
it, but I feel like in my heart I'm not
Hmm.
runway quality. I'm more print quality,
Hmm.
right?
But
Yeah.
if you had heels on, that would make you like 5'10".
True. And I did
That's
on the
pretty
catwalk.
tall.
It made me tall.
Okay.
And then plus at the time I was doing catwalk, I was very thin. So I
Hmm.
pulled it off pretty well because I was thin and tall with the heels. But
Hmm.
that's just something where I feel like the taller women, they kind of dominate the catwalk. The tall
Yeah.
ones, they look so beautiful when they walk, you know? Yeah. So I always tell
Hmm.
people I'm more print or TV. I try to keep it
Okay.
there.
When you were a kid, did you ever daydream of being like Miss America or something like that?
Oh, that's so funny you say that because I used to daydream all the time in Kansas City. Who did I used to dream about? I always dreamt that I was like Oprah Winfrey's daughter,
Okay.
or I dreamt that I was on the Cosby Show. I wanted to be part of the Cosby family,
Okay.
or I dreamt that one day I'll be going to Hillman College, which was in a different world.
Hmm.
Those are things I would daydream about that kept me going because I grew up in an atmosphere where I wasn't subjected to those things. I wasn't subjected to diversity, right?
Hmm.
And when I watched TV shows like Cosby, A Different World, those were
Right.
popular at the time. And I was very young. I was like 12, 13 when those came out. I was
Okay.
like, that's how I want to be. I want a dad like Cosby. I want my mom to be Miss Huxtable or Oprah.
From the
That's how I
Shad.
used to,
Yeah.
yeah, I used to
Yeah.
daydream about that. And I'm like, as I got older, I said, how can I be that Miss Huxtable? How can I
Hmm.
be Oprah? How can I be somebody influential for my kids? Because
Ah.
that's what I wanted growing up and I didn't have it, right? Not saying my parents were bad. I'm just saying that I wanted that lifestyle. I wanted to
Okay.
be in something like that. That's how I envisioned myself. And the people I looked up to was like Michael Jackson, Paula
Okay.
Abdul,
Yeah.
um, especially Michael Jackson, you
Okay.
know. In his earlier years, I was very young. I idolized him.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't so much when I became an adult.
Did you
But
listen to Jefferson Starship?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there's several people I looked up to. Far as actors, I loved Denzel on the screen. I loved
Right.
Sigourney Weaver growing
Yeah.
up. I loved Halle
I
Berry,
was gonna say
Angela
Halle Berry.
Bassett.
Yeah.
Yeah, Halle Berry, Angela Bassett were at the top. But yeah, there's a lot of people I looked up to. I love the director John Hughes. I loved what he did with the Brat Pack, like the Weird Science, The Breakfast Club.
You know what?
16 Candles. Yeah,
Breakfast
like I just,
Club. I
yeah.
After I go jogging in the morning, I go to this hole in the wall diner, which is called the Breakfast Club, and they have a giant poster inside of that movie
Yeah, I
with
would
Molly
say by
Ringwald and
far,
everybody.
it's like
Yeah.
it's a tie. It's like Breakfast Club and Clueless, by far
Hmm.
my favorite movies. It's like a tie between those two, right?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, both of them high school movies, Breakfast Club and Clueless.
You saw
So,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right?
oh, that's a good one. I have
Yeah.
that one too. That's a good one. Like I said,
Yeah.
I miss directors like John Hughes. He made it fun to be young. He made it
Uh,
relatable, you know?
yeah.
So we need more directors like that. They need to bring something
Hmm.
like that back.
Have you ever considered directing?
I would. I probably have to go to school for it, but I do have a natural ability for it since I've been in so many things behind the camera, like far as
Okay.
production, far as fashion, theater, movies, photo shoots. I
Okay.
think I'd be. Somebody told me that. They're like, Anthony, you'd be great at directing. I'm like, yeah. Well, I'd have to direct something myself and create a budget and do something to show the studios I could do it, right?
Uh-huh. Well, you could be a director of photography. That's different than
True,
just a director.
true. I can
Um,
see myself doing both,
well, I
honestly.
know. Do you know Tim Russ? He played Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager.
Yes, yes, I know
He does
exactly who that is.
directing,
Oh, does
and
he really?
yeah,
Okay.
and the way he did it is he wanted to direct on the Star Trek show, and so what they did was they had like a mentoring program where the director of the show would take some of the actors under their wing and let them shadow them and just learn as an apprentice and just
Ooh,
learn.
I would so
Yeah,
do that. Yeah,
yeah,
I would do that all day, every day. I would do that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one way to do it, I think. I don't think you have to particularly go to school to be a director.
I don't think so either because I
Yeah.
know a lot of directors I met, like what is his name? He did the movie Get Out. God, I can't think of it right now. He's amazing. I interviewed him on the red carpet, can't think of his name. Anyway, I know he didn't go to school. He went to school for film, but not necessarily directing.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people I've met that didn't go to school for directing, but they're such great directors.
Right.
Like they just have that natural gift. They have that eye, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
And I think there's a certain amount of just being a teacher as a director, learning how to see like to bring out the best in the actors. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
correct. Correct. Yeah,
Ways to just let
absolutely.
them shine.
That's what I love about production because I love being behind the camera and watching from the outside and saying,
Yeah.
maybe if they did this, that would be better. Or maybe if
Yeah.
they did this, that would be better. Like I have that creative eye like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you're going, but now you're going to be on the other side of the camera again.
Well,
And
that's
then,
because
but
people
otherwise,
do that. They throw me in
yeah.
front of the camera and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Because based on my look, maybe
Hmm.
when I start getting some wrinkles and stuff, maybe they'll stop doing that, right?
Well,
So
you don't want to jinx
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm older too. Maybe when I start getting wrinkles and I get more gray hair, maybe that'll be the time where people take me more seriously working production versus being that face that everybody wants to throw in front of the camera, you know?
Hmm. Well, there's worse things in life
No, and I'm
than
not
being
complaining.
cursed with a beautiful face.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. Don't get me twisted. I'm not complaining. I think God
Yeah.
blessed me. It's a gift, right? It's
Yeah.
a gift. Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, but you're also doing, so you have kind of your own media company too, right?
Yeah,
Just,
so I have a production company.
okay.
And it was called Ambush Events, but now we're just going to restructure it and just call it Exhibit Ambush. And
Mm,
then I'm just going to go ahead. We're working on that website too, because I used to do big productions as far as fashion shows and art shows and stuff like
mm,
that. But now I'm shifting strictly into film. So strictly into like commercials, building people's sizzle reel, independent films. I'm shifting. So that's what
ooh,
I'm
a
working on.
sizzle reel.
Yeah.
I've just heard of reels, but I've never heard of sizzle reels.
Yeah, yeah, sizzle
Yeah.
reels. That's what I call them. Sizzle
Okay.
reels. Yeah.
So that's like a really good reel. It's a
Yeah,
sizzle reel.
yeah. Sizzle reels, yeah. Something that'll definitely get your attention when you see it.
It's got
I call
some
them,
zing to it.
yep, some sizzle,
Yeah.
right? Sizzle
Yeah.
reels.
Okay. That's cool. All right. So that means you know how to do editing, video editing and stuff like that then.
I do. And I
Okay.
have a team of people that work with me. So
Oh, great.
I learn a lot of tricks from them when it comes to editing.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
So, okay. Yeah. So that's like, um, see, I always think like to be a good director, you'd have to know a lot about editing because
Oh,
you have
you
to know how
do.
you're going to edit together, right?
Yeah.
But
Ooh, yes, that's so important. You do. You
yeah,
have to know that. Yeah.
yeah. And I see, it was for a long time, I figured the director always was in there in the room with the editor, but I don't think
Mm.
that's not necessarily the case.
Not true.
Yeah.
I think the best directors understand editing, understand
Yeah.
the process behind editing. Those are the best
Yeah.
directors. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Um, and then, you're also trying to go to conventions. I know that because are you still trying to go to Comic Con?
I am, depending on what's going to happen with I guess it's depending on what's going to happen. I'm not really a big Comic-Con fan like my counterparts are.
Uh-huh.
I would just go just to check out what's hot and what's coming out,
Okay.
but with these strikes going on, I don't know if it'd be benefit me to go to Comic-Con or not, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
heard that the SAG. Well, I read one article that said that the SAG strike probably won't happen.
let's hope it doesn't.
Yeah,
Let's hope it does. I'm
yeah.
praying that doesn't happen. Oh my God, that'll be terrible, won't it?
SAG being the Screen Actors Guild.
Yes. Oh, that'll
So
be terrible. So
yeah,
I'm hoping they'll come to some resolution with the Writers Guild strike that's going on right
yeah,
now. Yeah, that would not be good if SAG goes on strike. I'll tell you that
yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah. That would even goof me up because my show is approved for SAG now, so I have a bunch of SAG actors in my current episode I'm working on, and it
Oh
would
no,
completely
that's
mess me up.
yeah, everything will
Yeah,
just come to a stop. So yeah, that's
yeah.
not going to be good. But I am looking forward to the convention in Vegas, the Star Trek
Okay.
convention.
Yeah, we're
That one
gonna
I'm
be
looking forward
there.
to.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got a fancy room in the Bellagio, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just slumming it over at the Rio.
Well, Antoinette I have to go big, right? I have to go
Okay.
big.
Have you already picked out the dresses you're gonna wear?
I do. I have a girl that makes dresses for me.
Oh, you
She's
have
my,
custom dresses?
yeah,
Oh, cool.
I have a personal designer, and she would appreciate me shouting out her name right now. Her name's Sierra Mitchell. Her
Okay,
stuff is
Sarah
called
Mitchell.
Sierra Mitchell Design. So
Okay.
she knows out of all the designers I've worked with, she knows my body frame very well,
Okay.
because she knows she could just make something for me and I'll throw it on, I'll look dynamite. I've in
Hmm.
the past with other designers, it's like I have to do multiple fittings, something doesn't fit right. But with her, she'll just throw something together and be like, Antoinette, wear this, and I'll just throw it on the red carpet and look dynamite, right?
Nice.
So when you find someone like that, you gotta keep them close to you because that's like a diamond in the
Hmm.
rough, isn't it?
So you are a queen in real life. You got your
Yeah.
own person that
Yeah.
makes your own custom clothing. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
Okay.
when I tell you I have a team, I have a team. Yeah, I have a
Hmm.
team. So
Okay, so how did you manage to do that? When did you discover that you were a good leader to be able to lead a team?
well, you know what? The thing about me that you probably don't know,
Hmm.
besides the creative side,
Hmm.
I've always been I've always been a natural born leader. You ever meet somebody very young where they're always taking the lead to do things?
Captain of the team or whatever.
Yeah, I was very unique that I've never been a follower. So
Okay.
I'm one of those people as a kid where I didn't want to follow a clique of girls or a group of girls. I just do something alone or
You
I would
create
just
your own
lead.
clique. Yeah.
Right, right. So
Okay.
as I got to LA, I started leading in a bunch of things. I started leading projects, doing project management. Then I started working a casino. I was like a
Oh,
pit boss in a casino.
what's
And I
that?
had pit boss is kind of director level in table games. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Like, you know
Mm-mm.
how in the casino you see the dealers and then you see their floor supervisors. And then,
Right.
like, have you seen Casino, like Robert De Niro's character?
I don't think I saw the movie, but I've
Or how
my
about
wife
Casino?
worked in a casino for a little bit, so I know a little
Yeah,
bit about it.
casino. So you always have the pit bosses that watch the supervisors, right? So I was a pit boss. I watched the supervisors watch the dealers, and the dealers watch the tables.
Okay,
So
hold on. And what you're trying to do is just sort of direct the flow of energy to create the maximum profits or something like that, or how does it?
kind of like that, but in a casino, you got to detect advantage players, cheaters. You got to make sure
Okay.
nobody's card counting. You're responsible for a team of 2 to 3,000 people. So I think the reason why I got the position because my boss saw that I had those leadership skills,
Okay.
right? So I've
Okay.
always had that natural ability to lead. I'm not sure where that came from. But I don't know. I think it's just a gift. I think all of us have a gift, and mine has
Hmm.
always been leadership. Even
Hmm.
even in my program now, I just graduated school with my master's in strategic marketing,
Oh,
and even
great.
my professor said, "Antoinette, you have a natural ability to lead," and I've just always been a leader. You know,
Hmm.
it's weird. I don't know. I don't know where I get that from.
Okay, so how does that work now? Now, do you find that so you can lead men and women, or is it or is there a certain sex that responds better to you, or how does that, or
Oh,
is it prevalent?
both.
Okay.
Because I think with me, the psychology of leading women, you have
Hmm.
to understand women are very competitive against each other, right?
Okay.
So I know that. So I know that sometimes when I lead a group of people and it's unisex, both men and women, there's a certain way to do it. And I always like to get people's insight because I don't like to delegate. I don't like to point fingers, not delegate, but I don't like to point fingers and dictate. That's the word I want to use, dictate.
Okay.
I like to empower people. So I
Okay.
want people to feel, even if I am a leader, I want people to feel included. I want them to feel like, oh, they can come to me with their idea. And I'm like, oh, yeah, wow, I didn't know that. I'm one of
Right.
those people. I'm a
Right.
team player. So
Right.
even though I lead and people always like me to lead, I like a team. I like people to throw their thoughts out and I like to coach
Hmm.
people and teach them things that I know that maybe they don't know. Um,
Right. Because it's
yeah.
kind of it's sort of paradoxical that a good leader is also a great follower.
Yes,
Because
actually, that's true.
you
That's
have
true.
to, because I kind of like to say, well, like, okay, like if you're a great leader, you'll see you'll see like the world sort of opening up in a certain way, and you need to follow where that trend is going.
Hmm.
But by following, you have to lead people to the thing that you're following. So
You
you're
do.
following and leading at the same time.
You do absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is you cannot do anything without a team. You can
Hmm.
I tell people this all the time. You can't do anything by yourself alone. You need a team. You need people that believe in you.
Right.
So I'm a big supporter of having a team. And I've
Mm.
functioned like this for the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years. I've always had a team of people. So
Okay, so how do you maintain, if you're a good leader, how do you maintain your humility? Like, how do you keep from getting carried away and going off into becoming sort of a narcissist, egomaniac type of
My
person?
my thing is, and not saying I haven't been guilty of that. I think
Uh,
12 years ago there was a situation where I felt like, oh, Antoinette, it's not about you. It's about your team. I think
uh,
one of the artists that worked under me that I was mentoring
uh,
said something to me like, Antoinette, you gave everybody exposure and you did all the articles on everybody and you forgot about me. And I didn't forget about this person. It's just that I was so distracted doing so many things because we were working
mm,
on a big project
mm,
that it wasn't intentional, but I did forget about them in a way because I didn't give them any exposure in publications on the news or anything,
mm,
right? So that was a reality check for me. And then I
mm,
said, I need to take the time and breathe and make sure I put all of my team first and
mm,
highlight them first before I highlight myself. So
mm.
that's if you notice that on my social media, I even do that now, very
Okay.
subconsciously. You'll see me highlight small businesses or individuals in my posts, and then
Mm,
I'll say something about myself,
mm.
or I'll say thank you to this business or thank you to this person, and then I'll acknowledge myself. That's I think that was my point that humbled me was that one situation with that artist because I felt so bad. And I
Okay.
didn't want them to think it was about me. I said, no, it's about all of us. We're all a team, right?
Now, do you think
So
your parents instilled that in you, or how did you get that?
I think my mom instilled it in me,
Mm,
in a combination of what I was other people's mistakes. I learned from other people's mistakes, especially in
mm,
Hollywood. When I first got to Hollywood and
mm.
started working with people, I saw how selfish and narcissistic some of the directors, producers, actors were out there auditioning and doing projects. I'm
Yeah.
like, these people are selfish. I said, if I ever get to the top, or if I ever get the chance to do this, I want to make sure I include a team. It's not
Yeah.
about me, it's about all of us. But
Right.
LA, I think I've met some of the most selfish, narcissistic, vain people in the world, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And I said, I don't want to be like that. I
Yeah.
want people to say, Antoinette's sweet, Antoinette's humble, Antoinette helped me get this, Antoinette taught me this. Those are four
Okay.
takeaways I want people to take away when they work with me on my team. And everybody can like really say that. Everybody knows I'm a team player. They do. They'll say that about me. Oh, Antoinette, yeah, she's a team player. And I
Okay.
am. So
Don't you think it's changing though? Because I mean, like, I noticed what it seems like, or maybe just because I'm sort of trying to create the same thing you are, where you just help everyone. Don't think of people as competition, rather just help everybody. Everybody helps everybody else, and then what
mhm.
happens, of course, is there's these little random connections that start happening,
Exactly.
and then everybody
Yeah.
benefits.
That's what happens. That's what
Yeah.
happened to me. Like the more you help people, I
Hmm.
notice little things just come my way and I don't even ask for it, right? More
Like this
blessings
movie.
come. Yes,
Yeah.
more blessings come my way because I'm really the intent, my heart is there. People could feel it.
Hmm.
They know how genuine and honest I am. And I'm very
Hmm.
transparent in everything I do.
Great.
So I think that's where I'm lucky and I'm blessed because I've treated so many people well and I've been so transparent. Then they call me and say, "Oh, Antoinette, be great for this," or "Antoinette, be great for this." It just comes
Oh,
back to
okay.
me, right?
Yeah, I'm already
So,
feeling it.
yeah, yeah,
Already now
yeah,
I'm starting to think of things I can recommend you for.
yeah. See, see.
Yeah. So do you consciously instill this in your kids, or do you think they just are gonna just sort of naturally absorb? that?
My kids are a handful around me, but one thing I will say, I'm really proud of them when I watch them around other kids. I am so proud because they are so helpful. Like we'll go to the
Great.
park and they'll walk right up to some kids, like even kids that are just standing alone and they have nobody playing with them.
Hmm.
Um, my kids will go right up to them and just like say, "Hi, my name's Sam," or "My name's
Huh.
Braxton," and start playing with the kids. They'll see that one kid standing alone that's not playing with anybody, that's extremely shy, and then my kids have
Nice.
to be the one to walk up and say hi, you know?
Oh,
So
that's nice.
I don't know. They must get that from me. I don't know where but I love that about them because I can tell kids love to play with them. Now, my little
Ah,
one, he's kind of a little bossy. My 5-year-old, he's kind of like he wants people to follow him. And I'm like, Braxton, if you want people to follow you, you don't tell them what to do. You ask them, say, "Hey, would you like to play with me?" You don't tell them, "Oh, let's go play ball." You say, "Would you like to play ball with me?" And then
hmm.
they'll go with you, right? So I'm teaching my 5-year-old that because he's a handful right now. He thinks he's a little king of the castle, you know? But my oldest one gets it. I had to teach my oldest one that too. He gets it. It clicked, you know?
Ah, that's
So
cool. Now I want to meet your kids.
yeah,
Ah,
they're very
okay.
sweet, very creative, very giving.
Okay,
Um,
that's really good.
yeah, they're very giving kids, and I love that about them.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. That's neat to hear. Wow. Okay. Um, and then now I'm drawing a blank, but so you have your company that's called it was called what was it called? Exhibit
Well, people know it as a ambush events, but I call it
Ambush.
exhibit
Okay.
ambush. Exhibit ambush.
So it
Yeah.
has a sort of paparazzi thing to it, or
Yeah, yeah. And that's why we're redoing the website because I've done so much since we last built the website. If you go to ambushavents.com, I've done so much that we need to add on a ton. All my celebrity interviews,
mm.
modeling projects I've done, big projects I have coming up. Like I've done so much since we built the website. Like they were like, "Oh my God, Antoinette, we just have to go in and redesign the whole website."
Mm.
So I'm like, "Yeah, it's time. It's time." So we're doing that. We're working on that right now.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. And instead of
Okay.
and I'm going to get away from an LLC. I already decided that. I'm going to dissolve my LLC and I'm going to
Really?
make
Okay.
a corporation because then I can sell shares of my business since I'm getting so busy.
Mm-hmm.
That way when I approach investors, they can have shares of my company instead of me just having because you can't do that with an LLC.
Well, hold
And it's
on.
yeah.
Well, I know Space Command is an LLC and they sell shares.
No, no, according to my attorney, you can't. He told me I need to dissolve the LLC and turn it into a corporation.
Huh.
So,
Well, it's
I'm
funny
working on
because I recently changed Pranakasha Productions from a sole proprietorship to an LLC. So
yeah,
now it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that too. I was a sole proprietor, then I went to LLC, and now I need to go to court because
Corporate.
I sat down actually with an investor and an attorney, and they both told me I need to turn it into corporation because then I can sell shares to my investors. Then they have more stake in the game. Then they feel like they're getting something out of it. So I'm going to
Oh, maybe
transition
it's
into that.
shares for the company.
Yes,
Whereas
correct.
like when Space Command sells shares, it's sort of shares in the project. And
Correct.
there's an idea that
It's not shares in the actual production company. It's shares in the
okay,
project.
that
Yes.
makes sense to me.
Yes,
Okay, I
correct.
see. Okay,
Correct.
that makes sense. Okay. Okay, well that's neat.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I'm meeting the right people and they're just trying to get me on the right path, right?
Okay, then how do you juggle all this stuff and still be a mom? I mean, that's
It's I get that question daily.
okay.
It's hard. Thank God I graduated school yesterday.
Okay,
So
congratulations.
thank you. It
Yeah.
was not easy getting my master's with two kids. It just wasn't. And then I was recently accepted into Yale.
And
Um,
what?
to Yale,
What's that?
to Yale University, Yale.
Oh, Yale. I thought you said
Uh-huh.
TL to
No,
Yale.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I was accepted into Yale for my
So you're moving
PhD
to the East
program.
Coast?
I know that's what everybody said, but I can't move right now. I'm under contract with a few projects, so I can't move. So I have up to 3 years to decide if I want to get my PhD or not. So,
Okay. Can you
um,
do some of it online, maybe?
no, this PhD program, they require me to be on campus, so I'd have to move to Connecticut, you know?
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, I have too many things in California right now I need to finish.
Connecticut.
I
Anson
know.
Mount lives in Connecticut.
I know. I
You
know.
know who he is?
I mean,
He's
maybe
Captain Pike on Strange New Worlds.
hey,
Yeah.
maybe a year or two. Maybe I'll book something really big and I'll get that big check, and then I can just relocate to Connecticut and still fly back to California when I need to do something creative, you
Well,
know?
there's I know of a compromise, which is Atlanta, Georgia.
I love Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know two guys that live there. They're very what they told me. Of course, you're not wanting to promote yourself as an actor, but they said, or Ethan McDowell said, when he moved to Atlanta, he got 10 times as much acting gigs as he got in L.A.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah,
Yes, a friend of mine works for Tyler Perry, and she told me that. She's like, "Oh my God, Antoinette, Tyler Perry would so cast you on one of his shows." I'm like,
yeah.
"Yeah, but, but." And then here's the thing: I want to get into production, but I know with Tyler Perry Studios, you got to work your way up, and I have
Mm.
too much experience to work my way up. I'm not trying to
You
just
can't
start
come
from
in
the
the
bottom.
side door.
Yeah, I'm not trying
Um,
to start at the bottom. No.
well, the other thing they told me is since Atlanta, where it is, it's sort of if you're based in Atlanta, you can do Atlanta projects, but also
Hmm.
you're close enough to Miami to do stuff there, and you're close
Yes,
enough to New York to do stuff there.
correct,
So
correct.
it's like really
Yeah.
strategically placed.
Yeah, no, and trust me, I probably won't be in California long anyway. I said when I get that one big paycheck, I'll probably buy a house where it's more cost effective because California is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
Like it's just the taxes here are ridiculous. They make it hard for people to live. I mean,
mhm,
it's just ridiculous. It really is.
yeah,
I'm like, nah, I'm gonna probably relocate in another year. I have a
yeah,
few projects I need to finish and then I'll relocate, you
yeah.
know? So
Fun. So
yeah, I
okay,
know, I
so your
know.
creative mind is just constantly scheming stuff. It's like you can't. It doesn't sit still. It's got lots of things going
Yeah,
all the
creative. That's
time.
how creative people we are. We keep it
Yeah,
moving. Like we're like
yeah,
this, you know? So besides
yeah.
the movie, then I have Playboy that I'm getting ready for, which you probably know I did Playboy once. I don't know if you know that about me or
Yeah,
not.
you told me that.
Yeah,
See, I was
yeah.
trying to sort of ease us into that when I kept saying you did magazines and
Yeah,
modeling and
yeah.
stuff. I
Oh,
was
you can
waiting for
just
you
come
to
out
bring
and
that up.
yeah, you can just come out and say it, you know.
Okay.
Like I'm not ashamed of it. You know, people like, "Oh, Playboy," you know, with all the scandal that came out after Hugh Hefner died and what happened. And
Yeah.
they have to remember Playboy is not nude now,
Oh, it
right?
isn't? I
It's
see
not
that. I don't even read. I never even pick it up. So I figured it still was.
no, and the reason why they stopped circulating in America, they sell everywhere else, all the other countries, but they stopped in America because they're no longer nude.
Oh, maybe
So,
that's why.
but
It's because
the
you
other
can't see it on the
companies,
stands.
yeah, but other countries could still appreciate the body or the female body,
Hmm.
even if it isn't a gown or a bathing suit or
Mm.
lingerie. You know, I feel like to be sexy, you don't have to show everything. I
Right.
feel like women like me, when I pose for them, it's going to be a very revealing gown, but it's going to be breathtaking. It's going to be classy. It's
Hmm.
not going to be anything raunchy or anything.
Right.
So when I tell people I'm doing it, they're like, "Oh, well, Antoinette, you did Playboy during the pandemic." Yeah, but when I did it during the pandemic, to be honest, Matt, I didn't get a chance to take advantage of the marketing, right?
Right.
Um, because the pandemic and everybody was quarantined. That's the time I did it. So
Hmm.
now I said this time, which is going to be a bigger shoot, we're out of quarantine, you know, and everything. This is going to be big. So I can actually get sponsors and invest and take it over the top in the media, you know.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. That'll be really fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I know. I was talking to the editor because I'm not young. I'm not in my 20s anymore. So I was actually flattered that they were even interested in me doing it.
Well, it's all relative because who was it? There was some model. I can't remember who it was now, but I swore that I figured she was like 42 or something. And then one day she said she was like 57. And I'm like, 57? Wow.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, it's probably because I'm in my 50s now. There's some women in their 50s I find infinitely more attractive than some women in their 30s because, they might have a wrinkle or two, but thing is they got so much majesty about them,
Yeah, yeah,
and life
absolutely.
experience that I find them just so much more interesting,
I
you
feel
know?
like even though I was younger and I would say I was cute. I wouldn't say I was beautiful, but I was cute.
Uh-huh.
But I appreciate the growth of where I'm at right now. I can
Uh-huh.
appreciate that. I feel like I look and feel better now
Yeah.
than I did when I was 25 or 26,
Would
you
you say
know?
you're happier now, do you think?
Yeah, and I feel like I'm aware of who I am, and now I know what my purpose on earth was. Because when I was
Hmm.
in my 20s, I really didn't know my purpose. I just knew
Yeah,
I
me
was very
either.
creative, you know. But now I'm 47 and I know my
Mm.
purpose and I know God's plan for me,
Yeah,
and I have a sense of direction. I feel so much happier in my heart, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
I
it does
do.
totally. Well,
Yeah.
what I realized is I kind of knew what my, let's call it destiny was when I was 20, in my 20s and 30s, but I was always fighting it. And that
Yes.
fight, that
Yes.
inner battle was
Uh-huh.
making me miserable because I kept telling myself,
Yes.
you can't do that. You got to just be a normal person with a normal job,
I
you know?
did that too. Yeah, I did that
Yeah.
too. I said, Antoinette, you can't do that. You got to be that normal person and it didn't help that my family really didn't understand the industry because they're like, oh, Antoinette, you're dreaming. You'll never be a star. You'll never be this. You'll never be in a magazine. You'll never be in a movie. You're dreaming, sweetheart. That's all I ever heard from my family and my relatives.
Yeah.
And at one point, I started to believe it until I moved to Los Angeles. And I'm like, okay, they're telling me I can't do this. Let me show them. And I remember 2 weeks after I moved from Kansas City to Los Angeles, and I was broke, mind you, I was living in a hotel.
Hmm.
I landed a Colgate commercial. A Colgate.
All
The
right.
casting director came up to me in Vaughn's grocery store and she said, you have the most breathtaking smile I've ever seen. I was like,
Are
oh, wow,
those
thank you.
teeth real?
Yeah. She's like, you have the
No, the
most
denture.
breathtaking smile.
See?
Yeah. So I said, seriously, you want me for a toothpaste commercial? And she says, yeah, where are you from? And I said, I'm from Kansas City. And I got tired of eating ramen noodles. Thank God I booked
Yeah.
that commercial because that commercial paid me 10,000 for one day. And
Wow.
then I made
Woo.
I made 3,000 a month residuals for 2 years.
Oh,
So
talk about a sweet deal for one day work.
yeah, so I moved out of the hotel a day after we were done filming. It was a 2-day shoot in Los Angeles, and I moved out of the hotel and I found me an apartment and I moved in the Burbank area. And that 3,000 a month, honestly, when I moved to LA from Kansas City, that 3,000 a month paid all my bills. Believe it or
That's,
not, I was able to budget that 3,000 a month and pay my rent, and because I didn't really have a lot of bills, right?
hmm.
I didn't have a car note. I owned my car. My utilities weren't high. So I moved in a small one-bedroom apartment in Burbank, and that just paid my bills. And anything I made extra, I was just putting it up and saving it, you know?
Wow.
So
That was
yeah,
before
it
you
just,
had kids, right?
oh yeah, this is a long time ago. Like
Okay.
I moved from Kansas City to LA shortly before the terrorist attacks. It was 2001. So,
Hmm.
and I was 24, almost 25 at the time, you know?
So, and you just, by pure luck, you landed a $10,000
Mhm.
one day gig and then $3,000 a month for the next X number of years when you were like 24.
And I was so oblivious. I was so oblivious. I thought me taking, I only had $4,500 in my pocket when I left Kansas City. That's all I had, right? So I left my comfortable home in Kansas City and moved to LA, not knowing how expensive the cost of living was or anything. And I got in a hotel, and that hotel cost me 500 a week. So I said, okay, Antoinette, you're going to go through this $4,500 pretty
Pretty
fast,
quick, yeah.
right?
But
And
actually,
God,
that's pretty
yeah.
good for a hotel in California.
Oh, well, you consider
Hundred
it was
bucks a
like
day.
2001 though, right?
Mm.
But God bless me. And 2 weeks later, I happened to meet one of the biggest casting directors in Vaughn's grocery store. And she casted me in a Colgate commercial. And so many people auditioned for that commercial. I think they had like 60,000 people that,
And you got it.
and I
Oh
got,
boy.
she just says, we were at castings all last week. Where were you? And I said, oh, I just moved here. And I had a country accent really thick.
Mm.
I said, "Oh, I just moved here from Kansas City, and she's like, "Oh,
Colgate, rise and shine.
right,
Colgate makes your teeth all white
yeah,
like that.
uh-huh." And you know what? And I have white teeth, but they even took something and made my teeth whiter. It was like a marker or something they put on my
Oh,
teeth and
hmm.
made my teeth whiter for the commercial. But I was stoked. Like I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, I just booked a commercial just by being in the grocery store, you know? Isn't that crazy?
That is
And
crazy.
And it paid my bills the first year I was in Los Angeles because I had a hard time finding a job when I got out there. I found an agent, a talent agent, but I couldn't find a job. So that commercial kind of carried me until I was able to get situated and used to LA. And I had trouble reading the Thomas Guide. I was like, oh my God, I can't read the Thomas Guide. I was always going the wrong direction to auditions. It was terrible, you know. So But
Wait,
that's
Thomas
my
Guide. No,
life.
hold on. So this Thomas Guide is those big fat maps,
Yes,
right? Books,
like
maps, street
360
maps.
pages. Yes.
The
And
realtors use. I don't know if they use
yeah,
them anymore now that we got Google
that
Maps,
was
but
before we had Google Maps on our phone.
right.
So I
Yeah.
had the big 360-page Thomas Guide. Every time I had an audition, I had to flip through that thing. And I was like, oh my God. And I'd read it upside down. It was terrible. Oh my gosh. I do not miss the Thomas Guide at all.
So you probably know this, but Elise is in LA now. She moved there.
Hmm.
Elise, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
dear Elise Hargraves from
Ooh,
Australia.
I know how
So
she
you guys could
feels.
potentially like go out to lunch now if you felt like it.
Oh yeah, I'm always
Yeah.
in LA. I'm in LA like every 2 weeks.
So
Yeah,
where do you live? Like, where are you right now?
I live in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm in LA every 2 weeks. I always have like some celebrity to interview or some project, or I'm always doing something. Like I'll be in LA this Saturday because I got to interview a celebrity on Saturday. So yeah, I'm always in LA. I drive back and forth. I commute, you
Okay. Are
know.
you guys Facebook friends?
We are
Yeah.
now, thanks to
Yeah.
you. We are
I could
now.
give her a cell phone number too.
Yeah, she's
She
super
just got a
sweet.
cell phone,
Super
a
sweet.
USA cell phone, so now she doesn't mind using it.
Oh yeah, she's super
Yeah.
sweet. I'd love to meet her in person.
Yeah.
I know how that feels to move to LA and not know anybody, right?
Yeah. So
Oof.
apparently she's living with a roommate, and apparently her roommate's turned out to be a really good person to hang with. So that's all
Oh,
good.
good. Good.
Yeah.
That's great. At least she didn't move out there and didn't have anything. I moved out there with nothing, not knowing anybody, right?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Wow, that's so cool. And then, so how did you ever make friends with Jacob?
Jacob. Oh, we met through an old mutual friend that we don't talk to anymore that much, but we met through a mutual friend. And I don't know what it is about Jacob, but he's like my brother.
He's got a magnetism to him.
He does. And he just had
Yeah.
this cool energy and he's a Christian man, which is what I love. I love
Hmm.
that. So he's like my brother. Like he's like my protector, you know?
Yeah.
I would say that I could see Jacob in my life. I mean forever. Like I just can't see him not in my life. Like he's like I
Mm.
call him my brother. That's what he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing.
So how long have you guys known each other?
Oh, me and Jacob have known each other. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Braxton's 5. He met me 6 months after I had Braxton. So we just about 5, because Braxton will be 6 in 2 months. So yeah, 5.5 years we've known each other.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels
Yeah.
like I've known Jacob longer. Oh my God. We do everything together. Like,
Okay.
but yeah, it's been 5.5 years.
That's
So,
cool.
mhm.
And were you at the Space Command red carpet? Were you at
I
that at the
was.
Chinese
I was
theater?
I was the one in the gold dress standing
Oh
next to
shoot! So we were
Jacob.
walking all around each other then, because I was
Uh-huh.
there.
Yeah, I even
Okay.
have the picture of me at the Space Command movie premiere in Hollywood. I have that on my IG page. If you scroll
Yeah.
down, you see the backdrop of Space Command and you see me right there in the gold dress. So yeah, I was there.
Okay. I don't see. I remember. I remember Jacob's blue. Well, of course, it's okay for a guy to come up and start petting a guy's blue felt jacket, but I
Oh
couldn't come
yeah.
up and start petting a gold dress.
Right. Everyone loved Jacob's jacket. I was telling him when we were at the house, we rented this beautiful Airbnb house the night before. And I was telling him the night before when we're all sitting up having wine, I said, please wear that jacket. And
Well, it
Jacob's
did
like,
it.
he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, wear that blue jacket. It looks so nice on him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
So,
It
and
totally
Jacob
did.
really appreciates, I've taught Jacob a lot, and he always tells people how much I've taught him. Just regarding media and PR and marketing, and he just appreciates it. So anything he
Great.
can do to kind of keep me connected to anything, he always brings me in,
Well,
right?
he certainly did good hooking up with Owen,
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
Hmm.
at
Owen's
least
a
from
good
this
guy. I
way.
like Owen. Hmm.
Yeah. Oh boy, we're gonna have so much fun in LA. I can tell already. Whew. And we're also going to Comic-Con, so, and then I didn't know that you lived in San Diego, so
Uh-huh. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll just show up at your house at
Yeah.
11:30 at night. Hey, we're here. Where's
We'll
where's
definitely
the food?
we'll definitely have some fun after Comic-Con. I could see us all maybe me suggesting some hot spots to eat. I could see that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know all the hot spots here to eat for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I've only been to Comic-Con once, and I went, it was during COVID, so there was only 20,000 people there.
Ooh, yeah, that's not good for Comic-Con when they get like
But
up to 200,000 people.
yeah,
You know?
but it's
Mm-mm.
a huge convention area, so wow. Okay. Well, what else should we talk about before we wrap up? So, okay, so well, you told me one thing. So your Playboy shoot was not no clothes. You were just wearing like a bathing suit or something, or
Well, I'll probably do two or three different looks. So one will be a really revealing gown, which I have my
mm,
designer making me a gown. So
mm,
it's sheer,
mm,
and she put diamonds and rhinestones to cover all my private parts. So
mm.
the diamonds
That's
and
nice.
rhinestones will cover all the private areas, but
That's
everything
good.
else will be see-through. You'll be able to see the muscles in my body and everything like that, you know. So
And all the tattoos and so on.
yeah, no tattoos, but definitely it's gonna be revealing. It's gonna be very
Mm.
revealing. So,
Okay, now here's a question for you. So on do you are you gonna Photoshop anything or are you gonna
well, here's the thing. Playboy always photoshops a little.
Mhm,
So here for to do what I'm doing to do the cover, because before I got like a pictorial inside, like they did a 4 or 5 page spread, but this time doing the cover, I
oh,
have to
you're on the
be
cover.
I have to be almost perfect, right? So between you and I'm looking into some surgical procedure I need to have done.
Hmm.
And yeah, I need to have that procedure done to give me that wow factor. And it has nothing to do with my face. It's just having kids. I have something called diastasis recti, where your ab muscles they split like this, you know.
Mm.
So the doctor needs to go in and sew my muscles
Put them back
like,
together.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's why I have to get done before I do the shoot, you know. And that costs money, right? So I definitely said after we get done shooting in August, I want to have the surgery because it's going to take me 4 to 6 weeks to heal, and then I got to train in the gym and everything else like that. So yeah, it's going to be a process, but I'll knock it out the park. Anything I do, I don't do it halfway. I do it 100%. You know,
You're
I'll knock it out
committed.
the park. Yeah, I am. And I feel like that's the only way to do it is either you just go 100% or you just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, so. Yeah, it can be challenging. I have my months when I do really well, Matt, and then I have my months where it's really slow, and then I'm like, oh, I'm panicking. I'm like, ah, you know.
Mm.
Um, but I never panic around my kids. My kids
Mm.
always see their mom cool as a cucumber because I don't want them to
Good.
see that stress, right?
Right, okay.
Um, but I have my times because it's overwhelming having my kid schedule and then my schedule and then trying to
Hmm.
make a living and then juggling Hollywood and everything I do is not easy. And I wish I had more family out here to help me with my kids instead of paying strangers like $200 a day to watch my kids, right?
Right.
So it adds up. It does. It's hard, you know, but I keep it moving. There's a reason why I'm out here. Like I told Jacob, God has me out here for a
Well,
reason,
I
you
don't
know?
know. Maybe Elise would be willing to do some child care. I don't know if
Oh
she's
no,
even
no,
into
no.
that.
I'm like
But
I'm 2 hours away from her. That's a
oh yeah,
drive,
okay.
right? That's a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's neat. Well, okay, if nothing else, we got to know each other a little bit
Of
on the
course.
show. With everybody else
Yeah.
watching. All right, and so we are gonna see each other hopefully in San Diego for Comic
hmm
Con.
Oh yeah, we'll see each other. Even if I don't go to Comic-Con, I'll meet up with you guys afterwards. I know Jacob will be there.
Yeah,
But even I'll meet up with you guys afterwards, have dinner and everything. You
that'll
know,
be
I'll
so
meet up
fun.
afterwards. Yeah, and then we're doing the Star
Okay.
Trek convention and stuff like that. So yeah, and I told Jacob I'm putting this energy out there. I said, depending on how well I do in the sci-fi film in August, I'd love to get like a small role in Space Command. You know,
That
so
seems completely doable.
yeah, I would love to work. I like Mark. You
Yeah,
know, Mark and his
he's
wife
kind of
are
like the same. He's an idea guy. He's
yeah, like
always got
so
stuff
sweet.
going, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, he does. So I
yeah.
told Jacob if I get a part in it, I'll blow it out the water with the PR because that's what I do for a living, right? So I said, huh. And Jacob's like, well, maybe next time I see Mark, I'll say something. I'm like, yeah, he needs to write me a small role in that because that'll be great. Back to back with the sci-fi film I'm already cast in, right? So it'd be
Yeah.
great, you know. So but I know how to
Hmm.
market myself. That's one thing about me. I know how to market myself, you know, and keep my name out there in Google, keep it in those analytics. I know how to do that very well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Well, that might be a good note. So we're going to put things here. So Instagram, we'll put a link there. And then your website we put down there too. And then are you on Twitter or any other social media?
I am on Twitter.
Or
On Twitter, I'm
Twitter?
under Antoinette Love, but I believe everything else like Facebook and Instagram and even LinkedIn and
LinkedIn, forgot
TikTok.
about that one.
Yeah, on TikTok,
TikTok.
I'm under
Ooh.
Antoinette Love Ransom, Antoinette underscore Love underscore Ransom. So everything else is under Antoinette Love Ransom except for Twitter. It's Antoinette Love. So yeah.
Okay. Let's call it good.
Yeah.
And do you know Star Trek? Do you know like the Vulcan salute? This one?
Oh yeah, I always have to push my fingers apart to do it. Is it like this, Matt? Do I
Yeah.
do it
And then turn it around.
like this?
There we go. Perfect.
Oh
And then you just say
wow.
live long and prosper.
Oh, live long and prosper. Love
Yeah,
that. Oh my gosh. That's interesting.
you did.
Nice.
All right. And then we're going to see each other in San Diego and Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, and we're gonna have fun in Las Vegas.
We're going to have way too
Yes.
much fun.
Yes, we
I
are.
can tell already. All right, Antoinette. Well,
Thank you
take
so
good
much.
care.
I appreciate you. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you as well.
Okay, perfect.
Pranakasha production. Fantastic creations emerging spontaneously from the space of life. For the benefit of all beings everywhere. We gotta change.